I want to talk to you guys about something that might be a little too grandiose and might be too big, and that's how to be a visionary. How to be a revolutionary visionary. This is what you are. We're all visionaries. Every one of us is visionary, but most people don't actively become a visionary. But you could. But we always have visions, and if you don't have a steered vision that you want, your mind will create negative visions all day. It'll go, I'm scared I'm going to be in debt. I'm scared people will leave me. I'm scared people won't like me. That's your vision. And I want to talk to you about leaving your old nervous system and step into you as a visionary, because I'm not just here to hopefully help you with little things like making your life slightly better. I want to help you access your inner Oprah, your inner Elvis, your inner whatever, and want you to see yourself as a visionary. And by the way, if you're on the morning calls, know that I probably will be doing it in a new way on this call too. And you can't hear this enough. If you've ever watched a movie twice, you sure can hear this more than once too. And if you hear this and you like it, please feel free to watch it again, because you are visionaries. Taking the idea of you becoming something that changes the world, because one thing I just want you to play with is, what if a world that you're in, what if the world that you're in is completely a mirror of your heart? Just take that in for a minute. What if the world is a mirror of your heart? And what if the only thing stopping your heart from being exposed is your nervous system that you think is you? Okay, you're not your nervous system, right? So you have a nervous system that says, I can't do it. No. The nervous system that you currently have can't do it. But that doesn't mean that's you. You just have to transcend your nervous system. Okay, so the reason I'm really passionate about this right now is because about a year ago, I was following Elon Musk. And no matter what you think about Elon Musk or Tesla or whatever, Tesla's a pretty cool car. And I have a Tesla, and I'm not saying that to brag, but it's the most fun car in the world. It's like this bizarre, fun thing, right? And you can feel that there's something about it that breaks all the rules of what cars are. I mean, right now in my car, I can push a button and say ho, 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 and the dashboard totally changes to Christmas. Like there's snow suddenly coming down. It's playing. When I turn the turn signal, it plays Jingle Bell, like shh, shh, shh. It's crazy, right? This is totally true. Just if you have one or have a friend has, tell them put the thumb in where you order the song, and it'll suddenly play Jingle Bells, and it'll suddenly do this thing, and it's amazing, right? And you're like, you've never seen that in a car. And also, you might not know this, but the car also drives itself. I can be on the freeway and literally push a couple buttons, and the car drives itself, not like cruise control, like it stays in the lane, it slows down when the car in front of you slows down, it steers itself. And when you gun the car, it has this ability to go so fast, but it's electric. And it feels like the California Screamin' ride at Disneyland taking off. There's this thing. And the car is just so out of the box. It is beyond everything you've ever seen in a car. Like, I don't even care about cars that much, but this one is so fun, right? So I'm saying this because the person and the people that created this car, and by the way, it also is the safest car on the road. It's awesome. Okay. And the people that created it have a vision of all cars being electric, and that we have as many Teslas as we do iPhones. He also wants solar powered roofs, and he has all these things. And you can hear from the way he talks that he has, whenever I hear an interview with Elon Musk or any Tesla, they always have the vision sounding and feeling to them. And I know this is how it works, like it's more of a fact than the current circumstance. The vision that they have is more of a fact as true than the current circumstance that they're in. And here's the thing. When an electric car is about to go everywhere, obviously there's people in the old ways that have, you know, the oil companies and all these different things that are going to be threatened. Em says, I dare you to sit on your hands and try to talk. I'm trying, and there's nothing. So my point is, that was close. So my point is that there has been a lot of sabotage. And whenever, like, Tesla had one car that had a little explosion, and just, 5,000 cars explode a year, but the news just went all over this thing, right? And focused on it, right? And it's a crazy thing because they're creating a situation where they're trying to sabotage. And a year ago, I decided I'm getting Tesla stock. And the reason I was getting Tesla stock is because a visionary is creating the company. And I had so many people that looked at the current circumstance and said, look, just so you know, it's all falling apart. Like, Tesla's not going to make it. And they're all saying this is not going to work. Look how low the stock is. I was like, right, Tesla stock's on sale right now. I said, never bet against a visionary, because a visionary knows, the visionary knows that the circumstance that's true is the vision. Take that in. And if you hold on to the vision more than all the circumstances that are around you, then the vision will become fact. So this is really, no, I'm not doing it on purpose. Everything's crazy right now. So I've had so many times where I've had a vision and then put myself in a position where the vision had to be enormous, right? So to make a vision work, first of all, it has to be a couple things. The vision has to be, one, enormous, okay? Two, it has to be something that impacts the world, right? So if you have a vision that just is to slightly make your life better, it's probably not going to stick because it doesn't cause you to grow. It doesn't cause you to change, right? So this is really, really big, because for you to shift, you have to have a vision that will take you past your current nervous system. This is really big. Are you guys with me so far? I see you guys really into my hands, but you have to have a vision. Okay, good. That is, you guys are making me, I don't know how to, I'm trying to work here for you. I'm trying to change your life. I wouldn't focus on the hands. Okay. So, the hands, great hands. Okay. My hands are here. Is that what okay. I'm trying to change your life. So, the first thing you have to do is have a vision that's so big that it goes past your nervous system. Now, you might not know this, but 8 years ago, I decided there was a vision that called to me. No matter what you feel with your life, I support it. But I had a call in me that said, I want to know what it would be like to go raw vegan for 90 days. When I felt that, I decided to make sure that I put myself in a position to experience it. So I announced to the public, I'm going to eat raw vegan for 90 days. And I said, and if I eat one cooked thing, I will give away $10,000. So that was a big deal because it put me in a position where I had to transcend my nervous system. I actually had to go past my nervous system, because had I not done that and declared the $10,000 thing, then I might have eaten a couple things here and there, and then thought one little cookie won't hurt me, one bite won't hurt me, and then got in the practice of one won't hurt me. But because I was in a position where I had to do it for 90 days straight, oh my goodness, the first week I was feeling so sad. I was feeling lost. I had no idea what was going to happen. I had all these justifications show up in my mind that said, you should totally eat something bad. You should totally do this. It's fine. You've done enough. You've gone far enough. This was my nervous system doing everything it could to hang on, because this was death to the story of what I used to be. So I just kept staying in it. And then there was a day, probably a week later, where my old story just collapsed. My old story that said, this is who I am, just collapsed, right? Exactly. So when one cookie goes by, you're, this one won't hurt me. No, it's a $10,000 cookie. It'll totally hurt you. So I made my nervous system more scared to not change. This was crazy because the nervous system was scared, then it collapsed, and I was deeper than my old story. And then I stayed in it again, and the nervous system freaked out again on a deeper level, and then it collapsed. Then I started identifying, I want to eat this because I ate this at dinner with my mom. Then that collapsed. Then it became Thanksgiving, and it was day 60, and I totally made a deal with myself that I could eat bad food on day 60, but I decided to not. Regina says, how did it collapse? It collapsed by not being fed, even emotionally. So when I said I'm going to do this thing, I had no idea what the outcome would be. And I thought that the outcome was just going to be that I'd be healthier. But what the outcome was that I changed careers and got my body down to 150 pounds. And I went to bed and slept 3 hours a night and was able to run 10 miles with no problem. So I completely had shifted everything, and then eventually switched careers, left stand-up comedy, got off of Facebook, didn't date for a long time, did so many different things and got my focus. And every time the nervous system collapsed, I proved to myself something crazy, that I'm not my nervous system. And then it became more and more liquid, and then I was free to be anything I wanted. Anything. So most of us, when we pick a vision, it's within the current nervous system. And that's why you don't change, so you don't grow, so you'll never want to do it. We thrive on growth. We need to grow, right? So to make a vision that's huge, it has to be something that not only will change your life, it has to both change your life and change the world. When you have both met, not you're changing the world, this is changing the world, not you're changing the world, but not you, and not you're changing you, but not the world. You have to stay in it. You have to stay in it, and there will be times where you will be totally convinced you're making a mistake, and that's your nervous system trying to keep you in 3rd grade as you're about to go to 4th grade. And then eventually, as it falls, new information shows up. New possibilities show up because now you've made room, because the old you broke off. The old you broke off. So your vision can not only be, it doesn't have to be something that's just external. It could be what happens as we go into New Year's if you meditate every day for an hour for a year. It could be what if you wrote a song every day for a year. You know, we have someone on our 6:30 calls who's an amazing musician, and she's going to write a song for a long period of time every single day and make that more of a priority than, you know, getting gigs or whatever. But fall in love with her godness, her goddessness, her universe. Fall in love with her connecting to herself, right? So Alex says, is that always a painful process, the process of releasing the old story? If it feels like I've been shedding a story for about a month this year, it only is painful if you're not creating a new story too. So here's the thing. If you just keep aiming at the old story while staying in 3rd grade, you just keep sabotaging your old story and beating up 3rd grade, but you're still in 3rd grade, so the story is going to show up. You have to go to a higher channel. So you have to create a new story at the same time. And the old story might fight it a little bit, but it might fall off too. So if you're in the lock of the new story, then the old story might try to scream, might say, look at me, look at me, look at me, but then it'll fall off. Does this make sense so far? So you have to create a new story. Now, a new story comes from a calling. That's the thing that says, those little things that say, what would happen if I had no phone for 1 week? You know, those moments that say, what if I threw out the TV? What if I didn't go online for a month? Like, do I need to go online at all? And then you have your mind go, well, I need to know this, and I need that person to call me, and money, 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 and all this stuff. But you don't realize that you'd have insights. You'd have higher level consciousness. You'd have a connection to the soul. You'd be going to bed early and staring at the stars and connecting to your body. That is also available. So this is what's so important, you guys, is that you understand the new story has so much cooler stuff in it, but because you can't see what the new stuff is, we often hold on to the old story because we're more obsessed with what we can see than what we can't see. And I want you to get more obsessed with what you can't see. I want you to get more obsessed with what you can't see, usually because your body and mind are so clogged with what you can see. And usually it is all available, all of it. So what you can see right now are the things you've done. What you can see are the people who are currently in your life. What you can see are the songs that you've currently heard. What you can see are the people that you know, the job you currently have. You can see all of this. What you can't see is bigger. Think of how little you've actually seen. Think of how little all of us has actually seen. How many people do you think you've seen physically, just met, walked by, whatever, of the planet? 0.001? Do you get what I'm saying? Like 0.0001 of the people on the planet. We don't know shit about what's out there, but you also can't see the ideas that are trying to flow through you. You also can't see the millions of dollars that are trying to come to you that you can circulate and heal the planet with. You can't see the books that are trying to come out of you. You can't see all that. We are so obsessed with what we can see. And usually when I talk to someone about shifting their life, they start telling me about the small story of what they can see. And I don't give a shit about what you can see. I want you to see what you can't see right now until you see it. I want you to see what happens if you see what's in front of you and what's in your future and the things in the world that you haven't seen yet now. What is in your future if you let your nervous system fall apart and you hold this space? Imagine you go, boom, I'm going to create this for the world. I want to do this for the world. Or even, I want to know what it would be like to just eat this way, meditate every day, have no phone for a year, whatever it is. You know when I said have no phone for a year and you thought that's crazy, but also felt a major relief in your body? You know when I just said that? Have no phone for a year. What would happen if you had no phone for a year? Now everyone goes, yeah, but then I can't pay the bills, and the people call me. No. Just what would you become if you did not keep yourself constantly available for everyone to call? What would you become if you didn't have to figure out and fix situations with everybody all the time? What would you become if you just hung out a little less with people and found some of your solitude? What would you become in a cabin in the woods for a month? What would you become? Do you see how you freak out only because of what you can see, but you don't get giddy about what you can't see there? What could you become? Get giddy about what you can't see. For that, you have to go into your body. Your mind is obsessed with what you can see. Your body is obsessed with all of it. Feel yourself having to go into your body. And then imagine, this is an extreme example. I'm not saying anyone has to do this, but imagine if you decided no phone for a year. And you start to think of right away in the first day, all the people that you think you got to call, right? But then you also notice you feel an inner peace and a little bit of a freedom. And then you think, I better call that person though. And then you start to feel like a little more open and you start to notice the moment a little more and you start to feel more connected. And then you start to think, I better, I'm worried about, and then you start to feel your body. You start to feel your soul, right? All of that is happening. Then you get to day 4 and you feel totally lonely and you experience loneliness. You know why? So your nervous system can graduate past the belief that you could ever be lonely. And it feels loneliness and it's God and the universe going, how bad do you want this? It's the soul going, how bad do you want this? Do you get what I'm saying? And your nervous system goes, I'm so sad. I'm so scared. I'm so confused. And a calling shows up and says, tell that person that you're going to take a break. Tell that you need some space, whatever. And then another day goes by and another calling shows up in you and goes, create this business or whatever. Right. This is all in there. The nervous system, once the nervous system collapses, you become the universe. And a new nervous system is formed around you in this power. You suddenly embody the universe. You get connected. You become clear. You suddenly don't need anything outside you to be happy, which makes everything in the world safe to come to you. If you want to make money, you got to become safe for money to come to you. If you want someone to love you, you got to be safe for them to love you. Because if you want the thing, you're at the same level of consciousness as the thing. And you got to be at a level of consciousness that's past the thing. You got to be more connected to you than everything you've ever wanted in your life. You have to be more connected to your nervous system, your dedication. And imagine how much you'd learn about your mind and your body just in the first week as you notice your mind kicking up and really doing everything it can to justify, and you don't cater to it. and then it falls. And then your mind says, what about this? What about this? What about this? And you don't cater to it. So since it doesn't matter anymore, but you hear it, it feels seen and stops and it falls. You become safe by being safe for you. Remember, one of my biggest principles that I talk about at everything I do, if you want something, you're not ready for it. Every time you want something, you're saying, I'm incomplete without this thing. So you'll sabotage it the second you get it. Go to a channel that's bigger than what you want. Go to a channel that's bigger than what you want. And one of the biggest things that's going to require is patience. Is you going, I'm going to be okay with not getting it in the first 2 weeks. And just meet me. Because life goes, I got so many lessons for you. I have so many other things I want to teach you before you get this thing. Because if you just got the thing, you wouldn't have any reason to change. You'd just be kind of over consuming that thing a bunch and you'd never actually change. You actually are being called to change, to learn how to let go. Now, I'm using the example of being alone all the time, and that's because my old story is I've been around so many people. My old story is I do all these gigs and there's all these people. Maybe you've always been alone and your story might be actually befriending people. Maybe your story might be to go out of the cabin and into the city. It's much more about you changing your energy patterns. It's about you changing your energy patterns and becoming something you've never been before, so what you've been can die. That happens through you listening to silence. That happens through you listening to new music I'm discovering. That happens through you meeting new people. That happens through you doing something you didn't do before. It can happen in going to work in a different direction. It can happen in eating at new places. I mean, there's so many ways to do it, but you got to change the old rigid nervous system that says this way, this way, this way. So my first dare for everyone on this call is to do so many things this week that you've never done before. Just changing it up. And Celeste says it's really uncomfortable changing, scary. And what I know from my experience that I can offer Celeste, because I'm outside of the nervous system on that, is that's not you talking, Celeste. That's your nervous system. And if your nervous system is scared of changing, you have to change so it can learn that it's safe when it changes. Whatever you're scared of, if you do it, your nervous system learns that it's safe because you'll suddenly change and 2 days later you're still alive. So your nervous system acclimates and goes, oh, never mind, we're not scared of change. This is how it works. So everything you're worried about doing, if it's something that expands you, do it, because the only thing that's scared is your nervous system. And if you say a sentence like, it's scary to do that, then what you're saying is you think you're your nervous system. Because check this out. All fear is not you. It's your nervous system. And you're about to do something different than the addictive pattern that you lived in. You are deeper than the nervous system. Your nervous system will not kill you, right? It might freak out. You will be convinced that's you freaking out, but it's not. It's not. Isn't it funny the things that we freak out about? When I said, imagine you without a phone for a year, that is horrifying, because I think if I don't have a phone for a year, I will die. Doesn't that sound stupid? Meditate for an hour, I will die, right? We actually think we'll die. That's how smooth the nervous system is. Wait, if I do this thing, I will die sitting. What? If I throw out the TV, I will die. What do I do without a job? Well, if you're connected way beyond your nervous system, you will suddenly have insights that are so much bigger than almost every single person on the planet, and easily create a company, create from that place. So what do I do without a job? And then you said, I love my job. Well, if you love your job, stay in it. If it expands you, if your job's a 10, stay in it, right? I want to write and be a flight attendant. Okay. So you do love the job, or you don't? Do you want to be a flight attendant more than your current job, Em? Okay, I have them now. All right. Good. Well, it's wonderful talking to you. I love you guys so much. Are you guys with me so far? Are you with me? I just want you to take an idea. And one of the reasons I have you meditate is because I want you to know that when you meditate, you also will go beyond the nervous system. Every time you say, I'm scared of something, and then don't do it because you're scared of something, you strengthen the nervous system and actually create a cage that you now live in. Did you hear what I said? Every time you say, I'm scared to do this, and then you don't do it because you're scared, you are saying, my nervous system is me. And then the nervous system gets stronger and more rigid, and you think it's more you. So you start to live within a cage of your nervous system. This nervous system is a cage. And most of us are addicted to living in a cage, and the world wants us in a cage. Look, people cannot sell you shit if you're out of your cage. They got to keep you in the cage. They got to pump 24/7 news. You got to eat shitty food. You got to eat stuff that keeps you scared, keep you addicted, keep you feeling connected to the old story. Otherwise, if you're out of your cage, they can't sell you shit you don't need. Weirdly, you need less money and will make more out of your cage because you don't have addictions as much. Addictions happen because you live in the cage. You're not connected to your soul in the cage. You're connected to the story in the cage. It is death to keep your nervous system. When you say, I want to do something, and then you honor the nervous system of why you shouldn't, you are dying while you're living. When you have a calling that says go, and you break out of the nervous system and you let yourself freak out for 3 days and go, this isn't like us, go back in the cage. And you're like, nope. And it's going, go back in the cage. Trust me, there's going to be a day 6, day 7, day 8, where this shit, the nervous system will leave. It's like this. It's like, nervous system, nervous system, nervous system. So much hands right now. Nervous system, nervous system. Then you have something that comes outside the cage, right? 99% is nervous system on day 1. And the thing that's outside of the cage is very quiet. And you still got to stay with the quiet thing. So nervous system's like, no, freak out, call the person, do the addictive thing. Day 1 sucks. Oh, and you're like, no, stay here, stay here. Day 2, day 3 gets louder. It's just like you get a migraine, you go through withdrawals, you miss the person so much, you cry your ass off. You really can't believe it. Kyle's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Why would we do this? Why are we doing something so stupid? This is so stupid. Day 3, now it's a balance of both, like the nervous system, but you've had some feedback that you're doing something awesome, right? This is so big, right? Day 4 can be one or the other, but you might have some more of this being the day 5. This is quieter now. This is the truth. Day 6, you see this? Day 7, now you're just truth. Now you're on the other side. You cannot do this in one day. You got to stay with it, right? But day 20, day 30, you are truth. Your vision is now fact because your nervous system has acclimated to all of the evidence that you got based on this. And remember, the biggest thing I have when you're leaping and you're scared, you're only scared because your mind can measure what you will lose and it cannot see what you'll gain. Your mind can't see what you'll gain because your mind is looking from the cage. Your mind is looking from the lens of the cage. So when you go, I can't do this, you're just staring at what you've seen and you don't know about what you haven't seen. So you're addicted to the old story, but in your soul, you could get addicted to the truth. You could get addicted to your expansion. You could get addicted to your intention. You could get addicted to the universe. You could get addicted to your creativity. You could get addicted to the unknown. You could get addicted to your soul. Lindsay's tilting the computer and now I'm screwing with her by doing it up here. You could get addicted to your power. You are infinite freedom. What? You are infinite freedom. And your job is to commit to something so much and let the old nervous system fall apart until you're on the other side. And that's how you become a visionary. And you don't do new shit. Someone said I do new shit every day, and I just want to throw out something too. Make sure that you don't do new shit within the bubble and then go back to the small story. You can be doing new shit in one day, and then you go, the nervous system goes, okay, that was crazy. Back to the real me, the small story that does the old shit. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you could go through a breakup and then go on a date and then go back to the old thing, right? Because you think the nervous system is that, right? And it's fine if that person is the person that aligns for you, but I'm just saying the nervous system creates all the fear. And here's a rule I have that I often forget, but a rule that I try to live by. If I'm doing something and changing something out of pain, then it's not the truth. In other words, let's say pain says, I really miss that person, I should call them. Nope, you're addicted and in pain, and your nervous system is trying to collapse. So if you call that person from the place of pain, they're filling a void and just another addiction that won't be sustainable. If you want something sustainable, it has to be a calling that expands you. So if you create a business out of a fear of going broke, fear is creating your business, so it's going to collapse. If you create even a job or a thing out of a painful fear of going broke, but it's not a soul's calling, then your fear is what's doing it. Your desire to not feel the pain you're feeling is actually doing the work, right? So today I did a yoga class, and I'm going to do another one right after this call. I'm going to do 2 yoga classes today because I don't want to cap my receiving. I actually feel called to do another one. But my calling said do it. Not like I'm scared that I'll be overweight. Not that, like a calling, right? Because the fixer is usually what's doing stuff out of fear. So there's a calling that goes past. So here's what's, Whitney says, I'm confused, and I love that. So what's an example? What are some callings that you've had that are intentions, like meditate every day for a year, create, move, callings? I'm not talking I'm in pain, so fix the pain. A calling that expands you. Yeah. To ask Norm to manage my speaking career. Okay. My manager? Awesome. Make videos about depression. These are callings, right? Make videos about depressions. Okay. So anytime you have something that expands you, the fear is going to kick in. Quit the job and go on the road with dogs. Wow. Right? Wim Hof breathing. Now, and there's some part of us that feels this calling, meditate 1 hour a day, training, called to be a speaker, to be your personal trainer. Awesome, Jed. Just reading your guys' stuff, create music videos. For the person who said, I'll ask Norm, I have something for all of you on this. What did you create to match Norm? This is really big. 10 years ago, I was hanging, sounds like a name dropping thing, but this is just a true story. I was backstage with Jim Carrey. And I said to Jim Carrey, I said, I would love to do a movie with you. And Jim Carrey said, then it'll happen. And I realized something. I'm acting like I want to do something with Jim Carrey and we're going to do this reciprocal thing. But I think we all know that 10 years ago, I was saying to Jim Carrey, put me in a movie. And I'm going to make it look like Norm's my manager, Regina. So I'm asking Jim Carrey to put me in a movie and calling it, I'd love to work with you, right? And of course, Jim Carrey and I both know he would be doing me a favor, right? Now, I can't tell you how many people say to me stuff like, I want to give you this gift or I want to work with you, but they aren't telling me what they'll bring to the table. I don't have any reason. There's not a thing there. And Norm, who manages huge names, right? Norm manages huge people, right? And he's awesome. And he's the best manager ever. But he gets people all day that say, I want you to manage me. And they don't have a reason. They don't have a video. They don't have a thing, right? So I'm at the store sometimes and someone will say to me, I want to work with you. And I'm like, oh, good, because I've been waiting for anyone to say that. Because that's all I know is they're anybody. And I'm just saying, if you want something, instead of saying, how do I get that? Say, what do I need to become so they'll call me? Oh, I want Oprah to call me. You know how many people say, Oprah, put me on your show? But they don't have an audience. They don't have a reason. We don't even have a defined message. They just want to be famous, right? This is so big. And you all have the ability to work with anyone you want. You all have the ability to be on Oprah's show. You all have but you have to become what you need to become so that they call you versus just constantly bugging them and saying, put me on your thing. You have to have an energetic reciprocation, right? So when I put someone on my stage, it's someone that has lived the message, and almost every person that I put on, every person I've put on has transcended their nervous system. The only people that I put on my stage or want to work with are people that have left the small story of what they are. Are you guys hearing this? This is the kind of shit that is past the nervous system, right? That have been people that have transcended their story and accessed a universe power inside of them. So when you're about to do your leap and you're scared, your mind can see this, but you can't see all the Jim Carreys that want to work with you when you put yourself on a vibrational match by getting out of the old story. If you're trapped in the old story, there's only a certain type of people that can work with you or date you, and that's other people that are trapped in their story. Are you hearing that? If you're trapped in your nervous system, you can only be surrounded by other people who are trapped in their nervous system, because people that are free of their old story, people that are free, Alia said, how do you transcend? Watch earlier. It's the thing where I was doing this when you watch the video. That's how to do it. To stay in a vision. I'm sorry about this hair. Oh, there's your problem right there. That's the problem. I just realized I was doing a call. I actually just was looking in a mirror and forgot there's hundreds of you watching me. But when you stay in a habit and you learn all the lessons you need to learn and go past your nervous system, right? You're in your connection to your soul. And then the people that want to work with you are other visionaries only. Visionaries want to work with you, and you will be past. That was there this morning. I know this morning on both calls, I was just like, hey guys, good to see you. It was my hand too. So take that in. If you want to be with people who are in their universal power, you got to get out of your old story. It's still there a little bit. It's back there too. You got to move into your greatness. All this content that's coming out of me comes because I've passed that old story. There's still another nervous system in here that I'm going to transcend too, but there's so much that broke in once the old me broke off. Once the old me broke off, there was all this content and all these answers and all this help from the universe. All of it was there. Everything in the world. I could measure what I will lose. When I went raw vegan 99 years ago, I could measure that I'll lose burgers. I could lose for 90 days. This is so not a big deal. 90 days. I can't have burritos. Then I changed careers. Like, that's on the other side of your leap, right? I changed careers. I changed my body. Everything changed and became an author. I just want you to see all that shit. Dude, I was talking about one of the calls this morning. I flunked comprehension in all of elementary school. I went to a special reading school because I had no ability, because I was so bored with the shit that they were, you know, those 3-paragraph things where they're asking you, Bill goes to the store to get 3 cans of beans and then he farts for an hour. How many beans? And then at the very end, it's like, why did Bill go to the store? And I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm fantasizing about my comedy career. So I flunked all of that and then became an author. I flunked all comprehension and reading and became an author. Why? Not because of my training in how to write. Because if you've ever seen me writing, you know I have no idea grammatically what the hell I'm doing. But because I transcended the nervous system, I had a vision that was so big that showed up once I got past the story of who I am as someone who eats a burger. I got past the boundaries of the bullshit small story of me. Your story is bullshit. The small story that owns you, your reasons why you can't. Total bullshit. You're a visionary on the other side of it. And here's the thing that'll freak you out and excite you. You're about a week away from accessing that vision. A week away. If you give yourself 1 week of committing to something and not breaking it, 1 week, you will get just enough evidence that what you're doing is right, and your nervous system will eventually shift. If you go 2 weeks, it's going to be crazy. If you go 3 weeks, John says bullshit. If you go 3 weeks, it's going to be nuts. If you hold on to the thing, it's going to be crazy. You have to hold on to the thing you want. What do you want? John says bullshit. John, the guy who, the second he said, I want to make a love billboard, we had 4 up. John Pogachar has love billboards all over the country now. And right when he said it to me, we activated it. And a week later, John was on the news everywhere. That was the change. Your nervous system, John, was scared to say yes to it until you said it on the call. And if you haven't seen it, look up loveoneverybillboard.com and you can see John tell me the idea and me riff with him and donate to the billboards. And now it's all over the place. Right? So there's that website if you want to donate and get love on more billboards. Just the word love. John, we love you. But the second he said it, we said, let's go. He got evidence, felt good, and it's awesome. Now there's love going up all over the place. There was a shooting in Pittsburgh, which was horrible, and John put a billboard about a mile away from that place that said love. Right over there by the shooting. Like, amazing person. Huge heart. And so we're all contributing to it now, right? And it's this thing. So, but once he saw the first billboard go up and then a news story, his nervous system said, oh, this is totally possible. And now we have people writing us and saying, John and I are about to pitch to this news outlet and this news outlet and stuff like that. I'm like, now you're just pitching to news people because you totally see in your body that it's a thing. Now the visionary is kicked in. It's a fact to him, more than a fact that how many billboards are there. It's more of a fact to him it's going to be everywhere. Do you get what I'm saying? And it'll be bigger and bigger and bigger. Once he sees 20 billboards, once he sees 30 billboards, once it hits the national news, it'll be wall-to-wall truth to him. That's how it changes. That's how it changes. Love you, John Pogachar. Are you feeling that? Now, what's yours? You need to have evidence. That day when you let go of something heavy, something that doesn't align, the nervous system freaks out, clears out, then you go to the store and bump into something better. Someone that aligns with you better than the last story, but you're ready to receive it because you're not missing the old story and holding that, and the universe can get in there. That's you. Now, you do that for a year, you stay in the vision for a year, and then you'll be that vision. You'll be the vision. You'll just be the vision. And then someone will talk shit about you, someone will doubt you, you don't even notice it, you don't care. Because your nervous system got enough evidence that you care more about the evidence that your nervous system got from your experiences than the evidence of what the outside says, who doesn't have your nervous system, right? So then the vision is just a fact to you. So my dare to you is to do something big that you've been wanting to do for the next week. For 1 week. What if you just decided, only go on social media or my phone from this time to this time. All other times don't. You have your own things. What's something you wanted to do? What's a thing that you've always said just when you're, usually when you're in the shower, when you're on a plane without Wi-Fi, or you want to, when you're on a plane without Wi-Fi, you're in the shower, or you're about to go to bed. Usually when you're about to go to bed, some stuff shows up. Or when you wake up before you grab the phone. I meditated an hour a day for a year. I keep hearing, trust me. I don't know what that means with practical career decisions. Well, first of all, don't think about practical. Here's words you can end. You'll think I'm crazy for this. The word practical. Practical just means, what am I doing that I should do based on what society does? And society's crazy. Here's another one. Right? Or when you're having sex. Yes, I get some of my best ideas during sex. Right? So practical, responsible. I'd love to go do that vision, but I got to do what's responsible. Dude, your vision is way more responsible. Wouldn't it have been irresponsible for Mr. Rogers to not create that show? Wouldn't that have been irresponsible for him to stay in something practical? Right? Think of what we wouldn't have had if Mr. Rogers did what's practical and did what's responsible. We wouldn't have had Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, right? What's practical? What's responsible? Here's another term I hate, and you'll see this in the trailer next week. I hate the term keep it together. Oh, I'm trying to keep it together. Why? Anything you're trying to keep together is trying to fall apart. M says, I've written the first book of a series and don't know how to connect with agents. Why do you think you need an agent? Why would you need an agent? But Kyle, with kids, help me understand how to balance being a mom and little ones and doing what I need to do. What would you tell your kids to do? Whatever you do is what you're telling your kids to do. I have kids. Right. Live your dream in front of them. It will become normal to them that they can live their dream. Right? What if I feel odd promoting my vision? Don't promote it. Become the vision. In other words, in trying to promote it, you're trying to skip that you are the vision. Did Michael Jackson have to promote himself? Or did he say, that theater, and it was sold out like that? There's a you that's trying to come through. I have no money to self-publish. What is talking right now? I'm hearing the doubts. I'm hearing the small story. I have no money to self-publish. Who says you have to self-publish? Keep going with the body, because the body has callings that are outside of you. And you're looking through the lens of your nervous system. I don't have money to self-publish. You're literally searching for a problem. You're searching for a problem. Just take that in. Your mind is actually going, there's got to be a problem here. I can hear it. And so, of course, life is going, you got it. We're trying to find problems. Here's more problems. Right? Life needs you to do things in a way that looks like it's irrelevant to what you want, but is actually the shortest, fastest way to what you want. Right? I've made decisions that I've regretted. That's nice. So have I. But what do you want? M, I'm focusing on you quite a bit because M's saying, I'm hearing a reason why not, a reason why not, a reason why not. What do you want? Don't tell me the why you can't. M, what do you want? That's what we need, what you want. What do you want? Most of us are so busy saying what we don't want. We're saying what we don't want. Why? What are you screaming at the universe? Don't give me this? Okay, I won't. What if you can't stop worrying? Start living. Here's what worrying is. Worrying is when you stay inside of your nervous system and you're really bored. So your mind is going, I'm going to get you out of the nervous system one way or another. We can do it in a positive, and if you don't, I'm going to do it in a negative. Did you hear that? Your mind is doing everything it can to get you out of your nervous system. And if you don't grab the steering wheel of your life, your mind will give you anxiety. So you'll go to a low that's so big that you'll have to match it with a big, right? You have to understand you are dying staying in that nervous system. And if you stay in there, life will sabotage the shit out of you and knock you on your ass so that you'll go beyond it, because you're bored out of your mind if you stay inside the old nervous system. So I want to offer you guys real quick, and I'm going to go in a second. I'll answer a couple questions too, to tell me your objections of why you can't. I'm hearing why you can't. I want to hear the objections to why you can't. In other words, the possibilities. I want you guys to consider, tell me a crazy out-of-the-box possibility, not a possibility of a problem, but a possibility of a new life, right? Like, what if someone, instead of writing, Kyle, I can't get an agent, write instead, Kyle, I accidentally made $1 million next week. Kyle, I accidentally could change the world. Kyle, I accidentally could be in my power. Kyle, I could write a book and get a publisher. Kyle, I could. We always are coming up with possibilities. And if you don't steer your own ship, your mind will create negative possibilities. So I dare you to give me a list of holy shit possibilities right now. I object to can't because I'm dying, because my life is waiting. Okay. So I want to dare you just talk about something outside of the nervous system, but on this side. What if I'm the greatest? What if I'm the greatest I've ever been? What if I'm totally healthy? I'm going to be a coach. I could write it. Notice how your nervous system feels just saying that. Kyle accidentally wrote an amazing album. Jordan, hold that space. That's awesome. I could possibly live in a place of inner peace, and it went away, but I am getting it. Kyle, I can actually help people. I'm going to meet you. Yes, I am going to meet you. Feel the vibration of your body. I can absolutely live in peace and joy. I can facilitate the Oslo community and mindfulness. What if I lost it. These are so good though. I ended up on Oprah's couch with a dog training book. Yes. I quit my job and I lost it. You quit your job, but that's great. You and I will play piano together. Ooh, give me more of these. This is so good. I wrote a bestseller. Now, you guys are creating possibilities, and you just did it once, and all of a sudden you might feel some shift in your body. Did anyone feel a shift in their body just hearing this? Kyle, I just realized I'm God. Kyle, I just stepped into my power. I accidentally changed the world through my vision of healing. I married Zac Efron. Seriously. That's from Danya, who's the one a few weeks ago who said she wanted to make out with everyone. So we all need to meet Danya. She sounds like an awesome person. I became a yoga instructor. Hold that space for a second of that being a possibility. I can have a healthy, amazing life. Look at that. I made a movie with Kyle. I saw Kyle in person. Hell yeah, Alia. In fact, just from saying that, would you write us and I'll give you a ticket to our next event? Just from saying that, the possibility, I want to give you a ticket to the next event. Right? Our next theater event or something like that. Because you're not saying why you can't. I'm hearing why you want what you want. Did you guys hear that? I wish so much I could have Zac Efron come in and go, Danya, since you said that, I'm ready. And he just gets on one knee. He's like, will you marry me? And I'm behind him fixing my hair. Kyle, I finished my app to help my community. And then finished, I can't see it, but this is amazing. Seeing Kyle in person for personal training. Yes, Jed, you put yourself in a position. Is that if it was Jed that said that? I can't find it. Yes, if you put yourself in a position where that can happen, whatever you say you want, if it's outside of your bubble of your nervous system and you stay there, your mind and your body will follow it. So here's my dare. You want a holy shit dare? I'm going to give you a crazy assignment that you totally, at times, your ego and your nervous system will not want to do it. But I promise you, major difference in your life. But it's going to be work, but it's worth it. If it shifts every aspect of your life, would you be willing to do it? Okay. I'm telling you. I'll walk Danya down the aisle and hand her to Zach, yes. I want to hang out with Kyle and Jim Carrey at Rhythmia. Of course this can happen. All this can totally happen. Here's how you do it. Ready? All right. Here's what you're going to do. Every day for the next week, I'm going to dare you when you wake up, before you get on your phone or do any habit, because we're going to break the nervous system this week. Every day until next week's call. And next week's call is going to be crazy. I think we're going to be able to release something on the call. I don't know for sure, but I think we will. Every day, you're going to wake up and write 100 possibilities that are outside of your nervous system in the positive. You're going to get your mind and your body in the practice of seeing the out of the nervous system possibilities that are the positive. Are you with me? You're going to write down things like, I had the healthiest body I've ever had. I was very hydrated this week. I became a successful author. I became whatever. You're going to write 100 a day. And I want to do this also because I promise you, you unconsciously probably come up with 1,000 a day in the negative. We all do. They aren't going to like me. It could fall apart. You even say the same one probably 10 times a day, right? So we're going to catch it before you can. Right when you wake up, I promise you a shift in your life. I promise you a different income eventually. I promise you and your power. I promise you healthier. I promise. 100 every day. To get your mind in the habit. Did you notice that you wrote one and might feel different? What would 100 a day do? This is what visionaries do. Visionaries write and come up with the possibilities so much that they become more of a fact. Now, when your nervous system comes up with something it's worried about, it is a fact to your nervous system that's going to happen in the negative. Right? You notice how it's a fact that person's going to talk shit about me, and your mind can see it as a fact in the negative. Right? I want you to write things that are past the story of what you perceive yourself in the positive, 100 a day. 100 a day. And then the rest of the day, your mind will come up with hundreds more possibilities that are in the positive because you jump-started it and practiced in the positive. So if you are in 100 things a day and you go 100, I had the healthiest body. I wrote a New York Times bestseller. I, moved into a good relationship. I felt really awesome. Christy says, are you doing this also? Yes. I'm going to be also doing flow group this weekend. So I'm working 10 hours a day with people. But yes, I'll be doing it too. I'll do it too. I got healthier. I moved into this thing. And you'll start making actions around that. You'll start being like, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to clean up the trash in the street. I'm going to connect to myself. And you will start, you'll notice how much you won't write down. It's a possibility that today I'm going to go on Facebook at least 100 times, right? You in your journal, you don't have to on Facebook. Although I promise you, if you wrote them all out on Facebook, here's 100 possibilities for me. And you did that every day for a week. Oof. You'll have other people doing it too by the end of the week. Especially if all of you did that. Oh my God, you'd have a world shift. I just totally realized. If you guys, yes, if some of you wrote it on Facebook, here's 100 possibilities for me that I never considered. And you do it the first day, you're going to be all freaked out at what they'd say. But there's also the possibility that you'll shift everybody. So you're going to just write it. If you want to, you can do it in your own journal or you can do it public. But I just want to shift the planet. And I think if you do that and you guys all do it for a week, you'll see a lot of other people around you doing it. Because you're going to start making actions around what you wrote. So that's my dare for you. I'm going to answer one question, then I got to get out of here and go to yoga. So I'm going to answer one of the questions on here. Serena says, I'm having a difficulty differentiating between something that is heavy when I'm sabotaging myself due to my limiting beliefs. How can I tell the difference? Okay, if it's something you don't want to have happen or you're used to, but doesn't make you thrive, right? So there's sometimes things that are heavy, even when you're moving towards something big, but it's so the old you can fall off, right? You guys, we're going to shift the planet. I'm telling you, this is happening. So Serena, so there's light are things that expand you that are outside of your nervous system, right? And if it's something like I kind of described, the heavy things are things that like people that they're not adding to your life. They're not expanding. They're just telling you how bad their day is. They're telling you, and you're like, the only reason you're hanging with this thing or this person or this situation is because, I mean, thing like the person. The only reason you're hanging with them is because you're keeping your old story alive, right? So when you start to go, this feels heavy, I'm going to let go of it, and you replace it with, and I'm going to meditate and go to bed early, and I'm going to just listen to silence and go for a drive or a walk, or I'm going to ride my bike today versus the car, right? Then you shift yourself, right? So if you're carrying around you old stories, then it's heavy. So hopefully you asked that question, before the call started. So maybe the whole call might have answered that a little bit too. So Stacey Hughes asked, and then I gotta go. Last week you spoke about how being in over your head can create a space for action. I've only been in over my head before. I'm in over my head now. There are some days where I feel excited and things feel good, but others I feel panicked and it might take more than a second for there to be enough momentum to pull this off. What do you keep the fear from? How do you do to keep the fear from overwhelming you? Got it. So something is trying to happen. Remember, something that Michael Beckwith said that's so big is remember that a delay is not a denial. I might have said this on last week's call too. But if you're delayed, the over your head means you're delayed, right? In your vision coming true. A delay is not a denial. It means I got more things for you to learn so you can have a better foundation in you to be strong enough to handle when that success happens. So life will give you a possibility of all kinds of stuff, and then it might make you fall apart because you might need to learn how to deal with overwhelm. And to deal with overwhelm, one thing you got to do is meditate. You're feeling overwhelmed, but you're never overwhelmed. You're just in this moment. The overwhelm is in your mind. So life is trying to get you out of your mind and into your body because overwhelm is the illusion of you being your circumstances outside of you. But you're just this moment. And there's never overwhelm for real. But you can be in the illusion or the movie of overwhelm. But what you are is just you. So everyone do this real quick before we go. Take a deep breath. And release it. Remember, the greatest in the world, think of how overwhelmed Elon Musk should be. The fact that he works for Tesla, creates Tesla, has shuttles in outer space, he's digging tunnels. You think he's overwhelmed. No, he's connected to his body. So he's not his circumstances. So because he's not his circumstances, he's free to make millions of circumstances, right? Overwhelm is when you are in the illusion that you are your circumstances, exactly. So when you feel overwhelmed, you got to meditate or you got to feel your body, If you're overwhelmed, that means you're in your head and not your body. So one thing is it's an offer. Yeah, delay is not a denial. Let's say you want to get the love of your life, and then you find out they are now with someone else. That's a delay. And a delay is not a denial. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get that person, but life is going, I need you to learn something even cooler about you. And so then you can create a space, and then maybe that person will align, but you're safe now. But sometimes life needs you to learn being humble. Sometimes life needs you to learn letting go. Sometimes life needs you to learn you're not your old story. Sometimes life needs you to learn you're free. Sometimes life needs you to learn forgiveness. So it'll delay you from getting the thing you think you want so you can learn these other things. So it's not delaying you because you can't have it. It's delaying you so that you do a pit stop and gas up and get what you need so you can handle and be in a foundation with yourself so these things can come into your life. So I dare you to do the 100 possibilities. And if any of you tag me, I'll see them. And some of them I'll even probably repost because we could make a movement out of this. So if you are excited, someone said, can I focus on 10 possibilities? Absolutely. I just dare you to see what happens to you if you do 100 every day. And watch when you get to day 6, how good you are at doing this and how much more specific they get and how much bigger they are. Yeah, share them in the Absolutely Everything Pass group too. So we're making a movement, you guys. I love you. I got to go do my second yoga today because there's a possibility for me that I'm going to get fitter and healthier and more flexible and freer and move into my heart. So I'm going to go do even more of what I want to do and step into my body. Do this week. Let's change your life. You got to get 1 week in and let's see how you see the world after doing this 100 times for 7 days. I love you guys.